Hi guys, Alan Wilstein, Chairman of RPSA. Nice to be with you again. I thought I'd give you a quick update about what I've been doing in the last week, just so you know what's happening and what's been going on with RPSA. Well, the first thing that I've got to tell you about is a really good meeting I had with the people at Land Registry. They're doing some really fascinating stuff with digitisation of all the information on local land charge registers. So that's things like conservation areas, listed buildings, and other information, maybe tree preservation orders, those sorts of things. Now, a lot of that information is really useful for surveyors. Before we go on site, we can check out the property in many different ways as part of our desk study. Now, currently, it can take weeks to get that information. It's called the local land charge information. It can take weeks to get it from a local authority, and every local authority is different. So one authority might give search information back in just a few days. Another one will take a few weeks. So that's really difficult for conveyancers and also totally impractical for surveyors. It's also very costly. So it might cost £20-30 or it might cost £150. And again, that's entirely impractical. So what they're looking to do at Land Registry is to digitise all the information from all 316 local authorities around the country. There's 23 million records, that's 23 million properties that are recorded. So they've got to get that information for all 23 million onto the system. So it's quite a long process. Currently there's 5 local authorities out of 316 have been put on the digital register. But the good thing is that when you want to get that information, it'll cost you £15 and you'll get it instantly. And that's a really big difference. It's going to make a big difference in the conveyancing world. But for surveyors, it starts to get really appealing. Now, £15 is still quite a lot of money, but actually they're talking about doing it much, much cheaper. Once everything is up and running, then the price for the searches will come down even further. And we're talking to Land Registry about how we as surveyors can access that information again much more cheaply. So it might be just £3 or £4 for us to get that. And hopefully we're going to be part of their advice panel, looking at how best to utilise the information they've got. Now, this also leads on to another big issue. That's property logbooks. Now, property logbooks are going to be a real big difference in the conveyancing world in buying and selling houses in the future. Just imagine if you had a place where all of the documentation about a property was held in secure storage. So that might be everything from information about when the boiler was installed, the fencer certificates, EPCs, boiler servicing, electrical installation upgrades, anything at all. Could also be building regulations approvals, any type of certification. Now, if that can all be held in one place, that's very useful and valuable. But equally, we as surveyors can provide a lot of that information. We pick up a lot of that data when we're going around a property. So again, that's something I'll be looking at next week with another meeting with a logbook company who are proposing to be a repository for this information. The big challenge that I can see is, well, if this information is spread around a whole range of different companies, how are we going to find it in the future? Land Registry strikes me as being the place where all this information should be held because they have information about every property in the country. So that's really sort of quite an exciting change that's going to be going on over the next few years, and RPSA are really right at the forefront of that. We're making sure that we're there sat at the table gathering the information and being part of the process and helping to develop and make the process into the future. So there we are. So that's just something that's been happening, and I hope that's of interest. I'll try and keep you updated again next week. See you then. Have a good week. Bye now.